Greetings once again. This is the Getto Free Press in Quitman, Georgia, in the county of Brooks and in the state of Georgia. This most highly profiled case dealing with the Quitman 10+2, Ms. Lula Smart, third trial, dealing with alleged voter fraud here in the state of Georgia. Perhaps this is the most important trial dealing with voter registration, voting rights, and voter intimidation, perhaps in the history of the state of Georgia and in the United States of America. However, this case has been ignored, not covered by the Quitman Free Press in terms of what's happening each and every day. Ignored by the Valdosta Daily Times in the metro city of Valdosta, Georgia. Ignored by CBS, NBC, ABC, and other news media outlets here in South Georgia, the state of Georgia, and in the United States of America. We have the renowned Representative Tyrone Brooks back in Quitman again on this high-profile case. Also, Brother Clyde, who is a journalist above measure in the Black African American community, he is here to witness that there is no news media that feels it necessary to report anything concerning the Quitman 10+2 who were arrested on December 21st, 2010, in many's opinion, without justification, based on our historic account of these outstanding citizens, many of whom are educators, members of elected offices, and yet the real testimonies from this case have been ignored, not only in the first trial, second trial, but as well as the third trial. Today we had the prosecution for the state of Georgia against the Quitman 10+2 and Lula Smart use their witnesses, but it seems as if though they don't have a ground to stand on. It is of major interest how the Georgia Bureau of Investigation have intimidated people here in Brooks County in the state of Georgia. Over and over again, we hear in the courtroom how these people talk about how the G.B.R. gave them a questionnaire wherein the only block or line on that particular form that they signed was the signature block. The G.B.R. asked them questions, then wrote down what they supposedly said on that form, and this is what the state of Georgia is using to convict or try to convict Lula Smart in her third trial. The first one was a mistrial. The second one was a mistrial. And now she is facing the same legal system in the Southern Judiciary again for the third time. And with little, let me repeat, with little to no news media coverage. Now, how does Quitman, Georgia, fare or fit into the mix with Ferguson, Georgia, or Ferguson, Missouri? Well, you may have to find that out yourself. But there's one thing that we do know. We know that there is something wrong when the base of these charges against the Quitman 10+2, number one, ballots were removed out of the U.S. Postal Service channels of the normal process for one John Boone to record information from the ballots to give to a private investigator who had been hired and paid $1,500, I think it was, by a one Brooks County attorney for the Brooks County Board of Education. Then, that's just the base of it all. And then he gave this information to this investigator. So now, I have asked from day one, how could the Postmaster General in Macon from 2010 to 2014 April go before even taking any legal action against this individual. It seemed as if though the Secretary of State, Brian P. Kemp, and others approve of a registrar here in Brooks County from taking official Georgia ballots from the government building to her home to process them. And nothing be published for the most part in the South Georgia or the state of Georgia or in the United States of America to let the world know that this is not the right way to process ballots in the state of Georgia. And so after looking at these two situations alone, it seems as if though it is okay for postal workers to take information from an official correspondence in the mailing system and give it to a special investigator without the person who wrote the letter's permission. Number two, it seems as if though there's a new precedent in the state of Georgia that any registrar in the state of Georgia can take official ballots home to process them, and just maybe in the presence of their independent party, Green Party, Democratic, or Republican friends. And if a registrar in the state of Georgia are permitted by authority of the Georgia government to take ballots home as if though they have set a new precedent, that means all registrars can learn from the actions that have taken place here in Brooks County. Now, we must go back to Selma and look at what happened there. It seemed as if though the old 1860 Valdosta City Charter is alive and well in Brooks County and in the state of Georgia, not to mention Mary Ann Whipple-Lue, mayor of Gordon, Georgia, or Linda Harris of Meigs, Georgia, or Charles Gibson, black mayor in Lumpkin, Georgia, or Dawson, Georgia, Chris Wright, or other mayors in Chris, Warrenton, and other small towns in the state of Georgia where newly elected black mayors came into being by a majority vote. It seems as if though there is a major effort for the news media in the state of Georgia. Let me repeat. There seemed to be an asserted effort in the state of Georgia to control, suppress, and abate the black citizens through their voting process and power in the United States of America, while Eric Holder of the Justice Department and the state of Georgia seem to be quiet along with, let me repeat, the Justice Department along with Eric Holder and the state of Georgia and the news media in South Georgia to suppress, ignore, and weaken the voting process through their lack of action, their lack of news media coverage, their lack of acting upon the DVDs that Representative Tyrone Brooks, former NAACP Edward DuBose, provided to Eric Holder of the Justice Department from live citizens who said they were intimidated by the G.B.R. Now, I am here. I don't mean to be so blunt, but if I served this nation for over 20 years, 21 to be exact, then I have a right to defend this country from both foreign and domestic enemies, not only in Brooks County, but I was in Germany. I served for the benefit of those people in Vietnam and other foreign nations of the world. And so if our sons and if our daughters can fight in foreign nations to ensure the rights of foreigners, then why should not I stand up and fight for the Quitman 10+2 and those who have put their lives on the line? Many military veterans are enduring and suffering the scars of these wars, standing up for the rights of foreigners But the news media here in South Georgia refuse outright to even act as if though these 11+1 citizens have a right to have their story heard here in the United States of America. It is embarrassing to CNN. It should be embarrassing to MSNBC with Al Sharpton. It should be embarrassing for 60 Minutes. It should be embarrassing for Dateline. It should be embarrassed for Oprah. It should be embarrassed for all the news media outlets in this country to ignore these 12 outstanding citizens. This is the 9th day of this very high profile case. And do you not know that they think that the black man and woman is deaf, dumb, and blind to the times and unable to make intelligent decisions based on facts, because they think that if they don't cover our news, then we can keep the people ignorant and become a slave in 2014, a mental slave, because they keep the truth from us. But I'm here to say to all of America, why should we, listen please, why should we send our sons and our daughters over to foreign nations of the world to serve this country and to be willing to fight so others will have the right to vote by absentee ballot or early voting or poll voting? And when we sit back and witness this, and the people here in Brooks County, the retired educators, the retired military veterans, the active duty military people can sit back and not even show up to see what is happening under their form of government is a disgrace to all of our active duty, disabled, retired military veterans, not to mention the ordinary citizens. This is the Getto Free Press. This is the 9th day, and I have tried my best to give you the best because you deserve no less under our form of government. How can we say, listen, America, President Barack Obama, Eric Holder of the Justice Department, Governor Nathan Deal, and all the other governors of the state of Georgia, and all these mayors of the cities across America, how can we expect for Afghanistan, Pakistan, Iraq, and no stand to take a stand with us for freedom, justice, and equality, and the right to vote when we ourselves see something happening and we say nothing? We say absolutely nothing. And so I'm saying to the Democratic Party, the Republican Party, the Green Party, and the other parties to get the first transcript from Lula Smart's first mistrial, the second mistrial, and this trial, and the foundation for whence District Attorney David Miller, Assistant Attorney Brad Shealy, the Georgia G.B.R, Governor Nathan Deal, and Georgia Attorney General look into the records and let's find out just how deep the mole hole goes, for something is wrong. And it is coming out in the courtroom that there is something very wrong in terms of what has been done to the Quitman 10+2. And now I give you this on the 9th day to let you know the Quitman Free Press have not been in the courtroom, have not taken notes, and both of the little articles that was put in the Quitman Free Press, you who've been in this courtroom know, that is nothing compared to people possibly perjuring themselves. G.B.R. talking about they hadn't received the training, forms wherein people did not even initial, and they didn't write down what the voters said, and it's coming out. But you won't know nothing about all of this unless you get a copy of the transcript, Oprah. Unless you get a copy of the transcript, Tyler Perry. Unless you get a copy of the transcript, President Barack Obama, Jesse Jackson, the other civil rights movement leaders. This is why you need more inclusion in the news media here in the United States of America. Now, I thank you all for tuning in. Take this video, put it on Facebook among your friends, make it public, put it on Twitter, make it public. I am connecting the entire Quitman playlist with this video, so you can go back to December the 21st, 2010, when I first received a call from some of the Quitman 10 members when I was in Atlanta on vacation. And I will assure you that it's all been documented. No other news media has documented the hellhole that they have created for these outstanding Georgia citizens. Not to mention the late member of the Quitman 10, Latasha Head, who is now deceased. She had lupus, and only God knows if this stress brought on by the state of Georgia did not contribute to her demise. I talked to her father, and so as Paul Harvey would say, just maybe in a few months you will get the rest of the story. This is George Boston Ryan in the front of the Brooks County Courthouse. Tyrone Brooke, Brother Clyde, and other people from Atlanta came on a SCLC bus. Members of the local NAACP, NAACP from Valdosta, NAACP from Macon have all come here. But the news media, I said it before, and I'll say it again, and I'm gonna close with what was displayed on the second floor of Quitman City Hall until I had it removed a few years ago. And here's what it said, that the mayor and council shall pass all proper and necessary laws and ordinances for the control of slaves and free persons of color, and to control, suppress, and abate all nuisances arriving from hogs, dogs, horses, and other animals straying at large in Valdosta. I requested that disgraceful charter be taken down from the wall leading into the Honorable Judge Edwards' courtroom because it was not reflective of the people stationed at Moody Air Force Base, nor those students attending Valdosta State University or Georgia Military College, or attend Whipple-Lue Golf Course, or who go to Francis Lake Golf Course, or who come to Wild Adventures Theme Park, or who just passed through Lowndes County, Georgia. Once again, this is the Ghetto Free Press. We believe in St. John 8:32, and ye shall know the truth, and that the truth shall set and make you free. And there's a great possibility that there are those who understand that, and therefore they want to keep you deaf, dumb, and blind to the times, and unable to make intelligent decisions based on facts because they don't want you to have them. Listen to the siren. Listen. Why couldn't the Quitman Free Press, the Thomasville Times, the Valdosta Daily Times, and the TV stations come to this city and do what that ambulance is doing, and that's taking on the issues and providing a service to the people in the state of Georgia? Bye-bye. We go.